Hey everybody, Dave here. I am in Seoul, South Korea right now, and I had my fried chicken for dinner. I had a beer with that, and it's my last night of my trip. The reason I'm making this video is actually prior to my trip of coming to Seoul in South Korea is I decided I just wanted to give myself a new challenge. Basically, the challenge was like this. Every day over 30 days, I took a bare minimum of a 30-minute Korean class with a Korean teacher on italki. Because basically my whole point was this, is I was like, how good can I get in Korean in 30 days? I want to talk a little bit today about how that study process went, where I'm at right now, and how useful Korean language was on this trip. First of all, my process. Basically, I just thought bare minimum of a 30-minute class per day. Sometimes these classes were 45 minutes, sometimes they were an hour. So the methods that the teachers used to teach me, some were mainly like PPT based, like PowerPoint based. Some were like more of like conversational. Some were just teaching me like basic phrases and whatnot. And the way that I basically started learning is I learned Hanguel, which is essentially the Korean alphabet first. I actually think like this was like an extremely important way to start because it's kind of similar to like Chinese, is that like I know some people who've learned Chinese before without like knowing how to read and write. I think it's extremely difficult. Like if you ever want to get like practically really good or really strong in like a Asian language, like you need to understand how the alphabet works and the pronunciations. So over probably like 2 or 3 weeks of that beginning, I just had multiple teachers like teaching me the same thing with the Korean alphabet over and over and over again. And then finally, like once I was kind of getting to that like last week of classes, I could like basically understand how to make most sounds on my own. And like that was extremely useful because when I came to Korea and I was actually going to restaurants or needed to do some things, I could at least read the alphabet and then like sound it out and practice sounding it out on my own. So it's like a vanilla latte, for example. I want to buy a vanilla latte, panilla latte, like something like that, right? Or if it was like Americano, something like that, right? But you can still practice because you know the alphabet. And the Korean alphabet isn't actually that difficult to learn or understand. Like if you spend probably 10 to 15 hours at the most, I'll say 10 to 15 hours at most, like you should be able to understand the alphabet. And then you can start doing like reading and writing after that. So that was the alphabet part, and I thought that was super useful, and I was able to use that a lot on my trip, and it was actually extremely important, or like good sometimes, because I could say like my friend and I were trying to find a restaurant and like it only has a Korean name, and I could basically like understand based on the Korean name what it is and then like look at the signs and know which one it is. Or like sometimes when we were on the Daegu subway doesn't have a ton of English, so it was useful because I could quickly read out and see like the signs when we were stopping and be like, oh, actually this is a stop we got to get out of. So that was really useful. The next thing that I want to talk about, and I was able to understand within the 30 days of doing my class every day, was like basically the structure of how Korean is used as a language. It's actually very straightforward, I think, in my head. It's a little bit different than English or Chinese because like in English or Chinese it's like I eat an apple. Similar in Chinese it's like 我吃了苹果. In Korean, so I don't actually know all the words yet, but it's like I apple eat. So basically it's always the person or the place or whatnot, then it's essentially the subject, and then it's the verb or the action. So essentially, like in our case, like with Korean, how it works, for example, is like you're always essentially going to put the action at the very end of like what you're going to do. And I think one really nice thing about this is that actually it follows a very repeatable pattern. So after some point in time, essentially, if you continue to follow this, you will essentially be able to make more and more like broad sentences and broad sentence structures. So I found this to be really cool, and I could kind of see it used like a little bit during my trip. Like my Korean is like still way too basic to kind of be able to like listen and understand people right now. Like some words and whatnot I can pick up right now, but I found that to be like a really cool thing as well in the process of learning Korean. On top of that, I think it's just like a really fun language to learn. Like it is still quite a bit different than Chinese or English, but there's still a lot of rooted words. Like for example, banana in English is like panana, I think in Korean, or like a rabbit in Chinese is like 兔子, and in Korean it's like tugi, I think, or tugu. I forget which one it is. But it's kind of cool because you can see there's like these relationships between these other languages. So if you have like an Asian language that you can already speak, and maybe you're like native in French, Spanish, English, something like this, like I think you'll actually have a pretty good time learning Korean. And it's a cool language to learn too, and just like listening to how people are speaking like here in the streets and whatnot, I find like very fascinating. I just wanted to give you guys a little quick like heads up about how my journey of learning Korean is going. If you enjoyed this video, or if you enjoy learning Korean, definitely like and subscribe. I'm going to continue to create lots of new content in like tons of different languages that I'm learning or utilizing in like my day-to-day life. Or if you ever have any questions about how to learn languages efficiently or how you should be going about doing it, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll be happy to get back to you. Until then, hopefully everybody has a good day, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.